Welcome everyone to this webinar presented by GenerationOn and Learning to Give, where you'll learn a little bit more about the two organizations and how we work together. My name is Sarah Fonzo, and I'm Director of Clubs and Campaigns and Days of Service here at GenerationOn.
And this is Betsy Peterson, and I'm the Director of Learning to Give.
So why are we here today? What are we talking about when it comes to service and service learning? The reality is that there's a bit of a problem. A research study out of Harvard University's Making Caring Common has identified that 4 out of 5 students rate achievement and personal happiness as more important than caring for others. Additionally, we know through a number of workforce studies that many young people, and particularly those with lower levels of education, are deficient in a number of skills needed in the modern workforce, including and particularly the 21st century skills like critical thinking, teamwork, collaboration, and communication. Philanthropy education and service learning support youth in learning about and taking action to address real-world issues. And in the process, they help develop those core social-emotional competencies such as caring, kindness, and compassion, as well as support the development of 21st century skills such as critical thinking, collaboration, and communication.
Community service, service learning, and philanthropy education all have in common that they engage kids in thinking about and taking responsibility for their action in community. Service is simply doing good in the community in a variety of ways. Service learning is a teaching and learning strategy that combines community service with academic learning and engaging kids' minds and learning as they do the service. And philanthropy education is the deep understanding of why and how we give our time, talent, and treasure for the common good. GenerationOn and Learning to Give provide a full spectrum of services in this arena. GenerationOn provides the resources to help young people and the caring adults they work with do service learning, and Learning to Give helps with the lessons and curriculum areas. So in today's webinar, we're going to focus on how each organization can support you as you engage youth in service.
So first, I'm going to tell you a little bit about GenerationOn and the tools and resources that we provide, and then Betsy will go over Learning to Give's resources. So in the world today, as we've already talked about, we've identified a lack of caring and empathy and a deficiency in skills that young people need to be prepared for college and work. We also know that youth want to help, they want to speak out, they're passionate, and they are keen to make a difference. And they also have a lot to give, including talent, skills, energy, and ideas. GenerationOn's vision is that all kids and teens are using that power and potential to make their mark on the world. And so our mission is really to go out there and inspire, equip, and mobilize kids and teens to become the caring, compassionate, and skilled change makers through service that we know that they can be. GenerationOn works with caring adults to support younger youth in service, and with caring adults and teens directly in support of that older demographic. And so if you think of kids and teens at the center of everything we do, then around that center are a number of different organizations and individuals and brands that help us get there. And that includes schools and educators, families and parents, youth development professionals, nonprofit organizations that support young people in service, celebrity ambassadors, trusted brands, and teens themselves. At the highest level, GenerationOn really does 3 things. We tell inspirational stories of kids and teens making their mark. We equip kids and teens with tools, resources, and training to help them in making their mark. And we mobilize kids and teens to take action in their local and global communities to address issues that they're passionate about. We have 3 main program areas, and the first is Campaigns and Days of Service. Campaigns and Days of Service are really intended to be an on-ramp for new volunteers to get involved and excited about service through simple actions. Each year we have a range of different campaigns that include the 3 you'll see here. The first is Family Volunteer Day, and that's a national day of service that really demonstrates the power of families who volunteer together. The Joy Maker Challenge is a yearly campaign we run in collaboration with Hasbro, and it encourages kids and teens to get involved, give back, and spread joy. The Make Your Mark on X campaign changes themes from year to year. This year, it's Make Your Mark on Hunger. And we're challenging kids and teens to make their mark on the issue of hunger through volunteer service and providing them with the tools and resources to do so, including project guides, reflection materials, lesson plans from Learning to Give, and a search function where they can search for volunteer opportunities in their local zip code. The second program is our GenerationOn Clubs program. Clubs provide young people with the opportunity to implement meaningful hands-on service in their communities. We have two branches of the Clubs program. The first is called Kids Care Club, and Kids Care Clubs are for young people in elementary school, and they provide adult facilitators with a comprehensive resource, the comprehensive resources needed to support younger youth in service. Service clubs are the older branch of this program and support middle and high school aged youth in service with the support of adult facilitators and often led directly by teens. On average, clubs complete 7 service projects a year and engage in around 220 hours of service. Finally, we have youth leadership and recognition. GenerationOn offers a leadership training course called Go Lead that prepares young people to engage in service learning and leadership skill building to affect real community change. This signature program equips youth to become stronger leaders and conscientious communicators through a 30-hour series of hands-on activities, including interactive discussions that all end in a capstone service learning project. Throughout our 3 core programs, GenerationOn believes that there's a best way to do service when working with young people. We always want to think about helping young people learn about provided by Learning to Give, fact sheets that GenerationOn has, stories and videos, all of which you can find on GenerationOn.org. And when supporting young people to act, right, we want them to take action on the issue that they've addressed. And there are a number of ways to do that. Young people can go out directly and do service by serving, for example, at a soup kitchen. They could do indirect service, and this could be done at home in the community or in the classroom. It could be something like a food drive or a fundraiser. And then they could engage in advocacy or research-based service. And this is around, for example, writing letters to elected officials around an area or issue that young people are passionate about and want to see change on. So there's a lot of different ways that young people can act when it comes to taking, in being involved in their community. And then we want to challenge young people to reflect on how their service made a difference. There's a lot of different ways to do this and do this well. It includes games and guided discussions. There's a lot of different ways to engage with GenerationOn. And in a moment, I'll take you to our website to show you how to do some of that in real time. But every month, GenerationOn offers resources around a theme. So for example, this month, we're concentrating on hunger. And we have a blog that features some of the individuals and organizations from across the country that received grants as part of our Make Your Mark on Hunger campaign. And it shares their story of service. You can engage in campaigns. And so again, this month is hunger. You could visit our campaign microsite and find lesson plans, fact sheets, and project guides to help you take action on that issue area. You can start a club, as I mentioned. And then throughout the year, we encourage you to utilize our project guides, lesson plans, and fact sheets to do service around the issues and the needs that are important to you and that are coming forward in your community and are identified by the young people that you're working with. And finally, for all those educators or school-based professionals, we have lots of tools and resources to support classroom-based learning, including iParty resources, which support educators in learning more about the service learning process. And so I'm going to take you very quickly to the GenerationOn website where you can see how some of this works in action. So the first screen that you'll see here is that monthly blog that I talked to you about. If you go to GenerationOn, you'll find our blog on the right-hand side. And this blog talks all about the Make Your Mark on Hunger grantees and shares the stories of 20 young people that are fighting hunger across the country. You'll also see throughout here suggestions or ways that you can get involved. And so this first category talks about all of the different ways that young people are donating pounds of food as part of the Make Your Mark on Hunger campaign. For example, former foster children are being supported by a group of fourth graders who are holding a food drive and donation to support former foster children in getting the food they need. And at the end of this section, you'll see that we suggest that there are lots of ways to donate food to those in need, and one of them could be by holding a fundraising volleyball tournament. And you'll see other such suggestions throughout this blog. The other thing to take a look at are our campaigns and days of service, and here is our hunger campaign. You'll see almost 25,000 youth have already signed up to participate, and it's really easy to do so. We ask you to tell us that you're going to fight hunger, use our tools and resources to plan your service project, and then share your story for a chance to win prizes, including grants to facilitate more service. All of our campaign microsites offer the tools and resources needed to make a difference. So if you go right to this plan a project section, you're going to find all of the things you need to make a difference, including lesson plans, project plans, and reflection materials. Finally, next, if you go to GenerationOn.org/clubs, you're going to learn all about our clubs program and can really quickly and easily sign up. It's all free, and then get access to tools and resources that are only available to our clubs, and then includes specific grant rounds, facilitator handbooks, how-to videos, and more. In our Teens tab at GenerationOn.org/teens, you'll find lots of great projects by issue area that you can support your young people in engaging around. And this site is friendly for kids and teens to visit themselves. In addition to projects, we have resources like the fact sheets I mentioned, our toolkits, and we even have our own project planning service toolkit. It's called our Do Your Own Thing guide, and kids and teens can use this to create their own service project from scratch. On the kids section of our website, we offer many similar things. We have projects that are just aimed at younger youth, and again, they really span a wide range of issue areas. And then we have resources like fact sheets and the Do Your Own Thing guide for kids. Finally, at GenerationOn.org/educators, you'll see a lot of tools that can support you in professional development, including archived webinars, and you will always find lessons and more. Each month around our monthly theme, we collaborate with Betsy from Learning to Give around monthly lessons that are themed to our theme. So this month is hunger. And then you can also visit our iParty resource section. That's really going to help you think about service learning, how to do it, and provide you with all of the tools and resources needed to support your school and your students in service learning. So I encourage everyone to come to GenerationOn.org to learn more about what we have and get involved in the numerous programs that Generation On offers. And with that, I'm going to head back to our PowerPoint and turn it over to Betsy to talk to us a little bit about Learning to Give.
Hi, this is Betsy. Thank you, Sarah. I'd like to introduce you to Learning to Give and how you can complement these great Generation On resources with lesson plans. So I'd like you to imagine a world where all youth are knowledgeable about issues and inspired as giving citizens, equipped with varied tools and practice that they've had through their youth for lifelong engagement as givers of time, talent, and treasure for the common good. This is the work of service, volunteerism, and social action in the history of the United States. And we can help you give these tools to your students with the help of free online resources from learningtogive.org and GenerationOn.org. So these students pictured here just led a project to help a student at their school who had to be out of school for an extended period because of an illness. They organized support and encouragement. From looking at this picture, how do you think they felt about what they did? What do you think they learned about the importance of community members helping one another? And how is this spirit going to be replayed in their adult lives when there's a natural disaster? I love the pride in these faces. Both the teacher and her students have made a difference and created a closeness because they accomplished something valuable together. Their community is a better place. They will look for more opportunities to participate. Learning to Give is an online resource that helps teachers build this sense of community, this culture of student responsibility for community. these caring attitudes. Learning to Give is your go-to site for lesson plans that teach these outcomes through all subject areas. Learning to Give has 1,700 K-12 philanthropy education and service learning lesson plans written by teachers who use creative teaching to infuse their content area with philanthropy themes. We define philanthropy as giving time, talent, and treasure for the common good. Philanthropy education helps K-12 students over time understand their role as generous participatory citizens. They learn about advocacy and service in our civil society. These lessons can help guide you through service learning process. So let's get started exploring some of the content on Learning to Give. Do you see the green button at the top right that says Search Lessons? This is visible on every page of the learningtogive.org site. And that's the link to the page I'm showing here that will help you search for lesson plans. If you click on that Learning to Give logo on the top left, it will take you to the home page where there's another search engine. That one searches beyond the lesson plans to other resources, but for now we're going to start with just the lesson plans. Some of the entry points for coming into lesson plans are similar to how you enter into service learning. That would be related to what community resources you have, what academic areas you want to teach, what are some of your student interests, what are community needs, or maybe you already know your project ideas or a philanthropy concept. You can type these into the search engine and start looking for lessons. As you're trying to think about what you want to find, it's a good time to think about what you want your students to know and be able to do related to an issue area. So I broke down the areas of learning into 4 categories, or the entry points of service learning. Those would be your academic goals, your philanthropy themes, your community resources, and your project ideas. On the outside of this circle, I've brainstormed a list. Your list will look different from mine, more detailed, more focused on your needs. Academic goals might be your standard-based knowledge, like learning the food groups or writing a persuasive essay, or they may be process goals like critical thinking and group problem solving. Over on the right, your philanthropy themes are what you want your students to know about being in community with one another in the world. Another entry point is through the community resources available. So you may do a community mapping activity to raise awareness of nonprofits in your community or businesses or government assets. These would be your community resources there you can visit and learn from. And finally, the project ideas. You may already know what project you want to do, or sometimes it arises out of the community resource needs assessment or the lesson plans. What you brainstorm here then goes into the lesson search. I typed something in and here's a lesson plan that came up. This is actually an overview of a whole teaching unit. This one is about the humane treatment of animals. That involves a lot of critical thinking. This page shows the unit overview with a summary of what's in the lessons and a service suggestion. All our units do have a service suggestion, but we encourage your students to come up with the ideas. Here's a snapshot of a lesson plan about water. This beginning section tells you what to expect in the lesson. That includes scientific experimentation and stewardship for the environment. This is a lesson about medical breakthroughs. Students learn about how science works with the nonprofit sector. You're familiar with the Ice Bucket Challenge from last year. This was a highly successful nonprofit campaign to raise money for ALS research. So in this lesson, your students might explore the knowledge and some skills of nonprofits and the action related to their role in making a healthy society. The lesson plan instructions are very detailed, easy to follow. You can choose to do the lesson in full, following it step by step, or pick out the best parts from this lesson and maybe a couple others. These are great lesson plans for a substitute teacher because you can leave them detailed plans and know they're doing something really valuable for your class while you're gone. At the bottom of each lesson plan, there's a detailed list of all the teaching standards associated with the lesson. You can select your state or the Common Core state standards along with your subject and grade level and get a breakdown of what standards are in that lesson. So all the Learning to Give lessons give students an understanding of real decisions they make as citizens and give them motivation and skills to take action about an issue they're growing to care about through these lessons and activities. Let me share a few more tips for getting started on the Learning to Give site. Under the Get Started menu that's at the top of every page, there's a drop-down of choices. The Teach One page includes current lesson suggestions around monthly themes or sometimes an initiative we have going. Often we have mini grants available to help you offset the costs of community service learning projects. Underneath that, the planned giving instruction page includes calendar-based resources. For example, in April, you can find Earth Day lesson plans. In December, you can find lesson plans around holiday giving for families in need. Underneath that, in the menu, the Fisher Online Institute is a source of educator mini courses to build your knowledge about philanthropy and service learning. Each mini course ends with a quiz that delivers a certificate to show your professional development. The courses are about 45 minutes long, can be done in one sitting. The Detroit and Urban Schools page has activities and suggestions for urban teachers. And over to the right on the Partners page, you can link to our partner resources like GenerationOn and link to some of joint projects we've done with different partners. All Learning to Give lessons are written by teachers and used by millions of teachers for free around the world. On the home page, you can read some of the comments by teachers who share their passion for teaching students about service and philanthropy. They share stories and tips to inspire others, and we encourage you to tell your story. Create an account and find the Tell Your Story tab in your user profile, and your story will become a model and inspiration for others. Our independent research studies have shown that teaching Learning to Give lessons leads students to understand philanthropy content. It also increases their desire to help and care for others, and it improves school culture. We know that talking about philanthropy and leading students in service action encourages them to seek out more opportunities for service and leadership. Thank you for your participation today. Please contact us from the Learning to Give or GenerationOn websites if you have any questions. We encourage you to explore our resources that teach responsible, active citizenship and give you the tools to lead your students in voluntary action for life.